All right, everybody. Happy holidays. The Cheech and Manny Music Podcast. We have a great show today. We're going to do Presto by the one, the only, the greatest band in the galaxy, Rush. And we're going to talk a little bit about Hold Your Fire leading up to Presto. So, my man, Manor, how are you? I love the Christmas outfit. You look great.
Look at it, man. Is that amazing?
All you need is the Bing Crosby pipe, man, you know?
Dude, it's funny, my other job, this was my outfit with big
Yeah.
Santa hat.
Oh, it's awesome.
All I need is that pipe, and
Yeah,
I'll be channeling my inner Bing Crosby. But
exactly.
dude, life is good, brother. Dude, how are you, man?
Things are good. Day off from the temple, Christmas shopping, with my daughter. I just
Amazing.
had a great day. Um, looking forward to the show. So
Same.
I'm trying to think. So before we start, we had a really we just released Grace Under Pressure, which is our most academic Rush in philosophy.
Dude, shout out to Joe Silkman,
Yeah,
Mr. Joe Silkman, the Led Zeppelin expert. He left such a his compliments mean the world to me because like you too, because you guys are like sages. You guys are wise. The fact that you guys compliment this young guy, I'm just like, yo, thank you.
yeah, and we really did such a good job with the philosophy and there was so much in there, literature and poetry. So definitely check that episode out.
Dude, it's funny because in one of our conversations, I'm worried that it's too academic because
Yeah,
I'm not trying to, I want people to listen to Rush for Rush,
right.
um,
But
but
they
don't
got
get
to get the
the philosophy.
message. They got to get the message, and I just love how you find it, like you find it in the lyrics. That's what you're amazing at. And this Presto has there's some interesting stuff going on.
Can't wait to hear it.
So I'll just bring this up quick. Little debate yesterday at the temple. Now I know shit about modern rap, but I just learned a lot from the episodes that we did from you and DJ Daquan and Mark. I'm old school rap. You know that. And
I
Kendrick
would
Lamar.
consider myself old school too. If
Yeah, you know a little bit about the modern stuff, which like I know, like I had to really study Little Uzi and all these whatever little
Yo,
whoever.
remember Migos?
Yeah, I had to study all those guys for the show, and it was a great show, and I learned so much from you guys. But so the Kendrick Lamar thing, the album, the new album, like everyone's talking how good it is, and I listened to it, and I basically think To Pimp a Butterfly is better.
Okay, can I second? It's funny how you and I agree. I'll be honest with you. I think Good Kid, Mad City, and yeah, I think To Pimp a Butterfly. You sent me that text about that debate.
Yeah.
I gave the album a listen. To Pimp a Butterfly, and while lyrically, I'm not gonna, say yeah, but I will say production wise, dude, it is. I'll be
So
honest with you, this is the one Kendrick's gonna be known for.
this one might be Kendrick Lamar's, like, let's just say Moving Pictures in The
Yeah,
Pimp a Butterfly
yeah,
is 2112.
yeah.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's
No,
fair.
I would say yeah. No, To Pimp a Butterfly would be his moving pictures.
Mm-hmm.
While Good Kid, Mad City, you can kind of because he had one called Section 80. I know one of our fellow temple workers, Gil, loves Section 80. Section 8. I'm sorry, Section 8.
Yeah.
That was his first album. I think it was sort of like a demo tape, but Good Kid, Mad City is sort of his 2112, and To Pimp
Okay.
a Butterfly is his moving pictures.
Yeah.
So this is the
I
album that
really like him. I think he's amazing, and I just listening to Pimp a Butterfly and then listening to the new album. I'm kind of going like old school, like 2112 to Hold Your Fire. You know what I mean? Like I'm not really, I got to give it another listen, but that was the fun debate we had at the temple, and I got kind of grilled for what. You don't like the new Kendrick Lamar, like
I wonder.
but
I wonder what Leslie would have opinioned.
I think he liked it. I think he said it was really good.
Wow. I will say, like, I listened to it. Um, I would have to do like a deep dive. Um, but
Yeah,
then like right now, I know one of again Gil always will hate on me for this, but he'll tell me, "Have you finished?" Because it's funny he released Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers
yeah,
2022, and the one that you had a debate on is called GNX, I think
yeah,
GNX
yeah.
2024. So, and that's the one that you had a debate with
Daquan.
Daquan.
Yeah, yeah. So those of you who don't know Daquan, that's Devontae. And I made the mistake of saying, I think he sounds like he's mumbling a little bit, and big mistake, but
He opened up a can of worms.
I did.
I
So
will admit, though, his enthusiasm for his favorite artist, it's pretty,
yeah, and
it's pretty
I gotta
cool.
give props to Devontae for he's into mayhem now, and like to go from Kendrick Lamar and mayhem, that's great.
Listen, man,
I love
maybe
music.
we'll get him on to Rush one day.
Yeah, we will. And to me, music is about debating and talking
Yeah,
about it. No,
like
Pink Floyd's
philosophy.
better than Led Zeppelin. No, Led Zeppelin's better than Pink Floyd.
Yeah, my
Kendrick Lamar's
debates.
better than Drake. I'm not gonna go.
That's the conversations. Like that's why it's so boring. Like if people just like the I'm not trying to hate on her, but like Taylor Swift or like
Yeah.
or no, like have a debate. Like why does Taylor Swift is Taylor Swift like the greatest thing or does she
Well,
suck?
well, here's the thing that Rick Beato said. With streaming music, can you name a Taylor Swift song? I can't. I can't name one Taylor Swift song. You know, I could.
No, the only one I know maybe from and this the only reason why because this was everywhere. Shake It Off. I'm ashamed. I know that because that was the big hit of when I was. This is like a while back ago, but it was a hit. Like it was
Uh,
viral.
I could probably name more Zena LeVay quotes than I could Taylor Swift.
Dude, I could probably quote philosophy quotes more than
Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
No, but Beato had a good point. If there was like MTV, we would know her songs because it would be on TV and we would know it. But being that it's streaming music, I'm not going on Spotify looking for
Or
Taylor Swift
TikTok
or Taylor.
or
You know,
Apple Music.
yeah. So, but anyway, let's get into the real talent here. Rush. So after they did Hold Your Fire, they took a break and they wanted to just take 6 months off and write for Presto. So um, they released a Show of Hands. And actually, it came out in the same year as Presto in
Mm.
1989. And it's a great, it's a great song list. They open up with Big Money, which I thought was an odd song to open up with, but it works. Subdivisions, Marathon, Turn the Page, Manhattan Project, Mission, Distant Early Warning, Mystic Rhythms. They go back to Witch Hunt, and a great drum solo. All you drummers out there, check it out. It's called the Rhythm Method. And I like the name. Which is the what is safe sex or whatever, or the Rhythm Method. That kind of thing. Drum solo. Force 10. Time Stand Still, Red Sector A, Closer to the Heart. And they put it out on album, VHS, and DVD. And it's interesting because, it comes from that tour. And trying to think who produced it. It's their first album on Atlantic Records. And it was produced by James Barton, co-produced by Rush, which Rush never co-produced. So that was interesting. It went gold and charted at 21 in the U.S. Got great reviews. And this is a good thing. The album marked a turning point for Rush, a shift from early hard rock to more keyboard rock. So it's the end of an era. Once again, Rush is ending an era. It's all 80s technology. 2 nights recorded in Birmingham, England. They had an elaborate stage show, lighting, pyro, a drum riser that spun around. So it was, it's like the end of an era. After this, there's really going to be no more keyboard Rush. So I think it documents what they do best. It documents Rush from Grace Under Pressure to Hold Your Fire. They put 3 albums. They throw a couple of older songs in there, and it,
Mhm.
it sums up the eight. It sums up '80s Rush. Although Presto is '89, I almost feel like it's almost '90. It almost dips into the '90s a little bit for me when we get into it. So any comments on Show of Hands? For when
I think it's solid for what it is. I think you and I were talking about that. I would have to do a deep dive. You and I were talking. Should we do? I don't know, like maybe a whole episode, an episode on Show of Hands. But just on a few listen of the tracks,
yeah,
it's solid. I think you're right. It captures Rush keyboard on the forefront, and probably because we're going to talk about Presto
yeah,
keyboards pretty soon. That's going to end. Where the keyboards are the
yeah.
dominant,
It,
music
it
drive.
it's worth mentioning. I probably mentioned it already, and we just forgot. you know what I
Mm. I guess we'll
mean?
find out. Yeah, because we still have to release um, Power Windows and Hold Your Fire.
Yeah, I might have mentioned it at the end of Hold Your Fire. And the album cover's cool. It's a pair of hands. I think I did mention it because I remember it, but I'm going to say it again. Pair of hands holding a small globe with spotlights in it. The globe is unity, connection, shared experience. The hands are holding the globe. The idea of showcasing something to the world, a connection between the artist and the audience. That's basically the concept. Between the performer and the audience. And I actually I did mention that, so I did it twice because I remember saying that. But so just so we cover it, because our goal is to cover every Rush album. You can't dive deep into live albums too much because there's not much to say about it.
And I feel as though that compared with all the world's a stage and exit stage left,
Yeah.
it's an okay live album. So I agree with you. It's not
Yeah, it was. I think it was like I know they did other live albums, but that was like the last best live album. Yeah,
right, right,
All the World's a Stage, Exit Stage Left,
right,
and then that one. So
right.
it's a show of hands. It sums up, and I like that it's summing up an era. I love that. Rush did that in the
Closing.
'70s, with All the World's a Stage. The '80s, Exit Stage Left, early '80s, which is still '70s. When
Right.
you think about it, and now this is ending the real '80s, like the real keyboard, uh, uh, digital programmed kind of stuff.
Thing like the '80s sound, where
Yeah,
keyboards
yeah,
are on the forefront. Like they're
yeah,
leading the music. I guess in rock music, they're leading, and
yeah,
this.
yeah.
You're right. It captures it
It
pretty
really
well.
does. It does. Yeah. So, all right. So that is a show of hands. Great album. Check it out. I actually wore that album out when I got it. I loved it. There's like Marathon is on there. A lot of the stuff
Well,
from.
you know what's funny? That's what's cool about the album. It contains most of the albums that we talked about. Their Grace Under Pressure stuff,
Yes. Yeah.
Signal stuff. It's you know what what's funny? Actually, go out and listen to it. To our audience, because it does give you little bits and pieces of '80s, keyboard rush.
It's
So
it's an '80s keyboard rush live. Subdivisions. I think I named was on it, and it's. I mean, I'm trying to. Yeah. Um. What did I say? Yeah, like Big Money, and this is just it was like maybe 2 CDs or more. Turn the Page, Mission, Manhattan Project, Mystic Rhythms, Witch Hunt, Marathon is amazing on that. I remember that. So go out and check out A Show of Hands, and let's move on to Presto, a tour that I saw in 1980. I actually saw it in '90 because they toured from '89 into '90. I remember buying the album in Boston. I happened to be in Boston doing something illegal. Nothing illegal, or I could go to jail, but the Portchester Middle School band needed a bass player in their jazz band. They were in a jazz competition. mind you, I'm 19 at this time. So Rob, my brother-in-law, was the drummer, and they needed a bass player. So the guy who ran uh, the jazz band loved me in high school, and we were, good friends. He liked the way I played. He's like, "Do me a favor. You still look like a kid. Come and play bass. No one's gonna ask you anything." And I remember this song was called oh Cumbachero or El Cumbachero or something. It was this Latin thing. And Rob played the drums, I played the bass, and we were in Boston, and in our downtime, we were trying to sneak into like chairs, the bar chairs. We got thrown out, and then we found like a Tower Records, and I remember buying Presto and listening to it on that trip. So 1989, just a fun story to relive. So anyway, um, Presto, Show Don't Tell Me, which is my favorite song.
Mine too.
Chain Lightning, The Pass, very sad song. War Paint, Scars, Presto. Then Superconductor, Anagram, Red Tide, Hand Over Fist, and I don't know if I'm saying this wrong. Unavailable Light.
Available light.
Is it available? Is it available light? Right? Yeah, available.
Available light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't even read my handwriting because it's when I'm writing these things, it's like just coming through me. It's just like
Yeah. No, all good.
yeah, automatic writing like Madame Blavatsky. So anyway, let's talk about 1989. So where were you in 1989, Manny?
I wasn't even born yet, but I was only a dream.
Yeah, you were in another life with Iron Maiden.
My parents were met and or dating because he got married, I think, in 1990, I think, or 1991, something like that. But yeah, I wasn't even. Yep, I wasn't existing.
Okay, I was 19, and in 1989 there was a lot of good albums out there. So Rush is up against Dr. Feelgood, which was probably the biggest album of
Biggest Motley Crue's, I think, most commercial
yeah, commercial album.
and last commercial album because after that,
Oh, there was no more Motley Crue that worth talking about. It's a good album. It's a great song. I think it's real catchy. Um, Pump by Aerosmith, which is that's a great album. I mean, it's like that Aerosmith got real commercial on that album. I think Lovin' an Elevator was on that one. Uh, I love this album. The Beastie Boys, Paul's Boutique,
mhm.
throw more rap. Take the Beastie Boys over Kendrick Lamar anytime. Devontae. Oh man, I just
Yeah, we got that on the air.
yeah, I just started some trouble there. The Cult, great album. Sonic Temple,
Mhm.
Full Moon Fever, Tom Petty, great album coming up. Skid Row's first album, my God. Band called Faith No More's first album. Going back to our grunge, Nirvana, Bleach had come, and Blue Murder. I don't know if you ever heard of them. They were a super group. Tony Franklin, Carmine Appice, and John Sykes, who was in Thin Lizzy. Tony Franklin was with the Firm. I didn't really go anywhere. And then a band called Badlands. So Rush really, they were up against some great albums that came out that year. Of
Yeah. Do you mind if I mention a few more?
course.
So Presto, 1989, right? So,
Yeah.
um, it's just outside of just a little bit of everything. In England, the Stone Roses released their
For them. Yeah. Yeah.
iconic debut that will influence the coming '90s alt rock scene and like an Oasis. You
Yes.
had Disintegration by The Cure, which was one of their massive albums.
That's a great album. Yeah.
Yeah, Queen released Miracle in
Oh,
1989.
yeah. Yeah.
We have also, and I love how you said, yeah, Paul's Boutique, Full Moon Fever, um, and my favorite, Neil Young's Freedom, which sort of like a comeback for him.
Is that
And on the
still
album, it
rocking
has
in the free
Rocking in the
world?
Free World.
Oh, I love that song. We were talking about that.
Yeah,
That song kicks ass. And
no, it's crazy because Neil Young prior to this, like you would think that that song is so good, but prior to that, he was kind of struggling.
Yeah,
Like he
yeah,
had some good stuff, but
yeah.
this album, Freedom, was a return to form and coincided perfectly with grunge because grunge is coming.
Coming up, yeah, and it
It's
became
coming.
an anthem because Pearl Jam did it with them at an award show, I think, or
Hmm.
no. And the thing about that song, I played that in a cover band. It's so much fun to play, "Rockin' in the Free World." It's
Yeah, I could see that.
a great fucking song, you know. And the
Great
guy still,
album.
and he still was writing quality after all
I
these
know.
years.
Well, it's funny. His '90s stuff is really good,
Yeah,
and it's just funny how Godfather of grunge. So
yeah,
and he released Harvest Moon in the '90s too.
yeah. That's a guy like that. It's a little different. It's not heavy, but
Well, no, it's not. It's his
it's like
return.
romantic, right? It's like a romantic kind of sound.
Well,
Some,
well, it's a return to form because remember Harvest?
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah, 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 yeah.
was a return to that because Neil Young has two faces: his hard rocking side,
Which I
right,
like best. Yeah,
and then you have his. Again, he's like a Bob Dylan of sorts, where he can do both.
yeah,
He's
yeah. Of
cool.
course.
But
Of
yeah,
course.
but Presto, that's what they're up against,
Yeah, and
and
it was.
and not to mention, dude, the earthquake that grunge is going to pose.
Oh yeah, yeah. And now 1989 is it's a turning point because it's the beginning of like changing, like you said, grunge is coming in. I would say grunge started in 1990. Really, it was on the underground. Seattle was booming. You know,
Mhm.
those you could go back and watch our grunge episode and really get on
Yes.
that. That was a good one. So Peter Collins didn't produce this album, um, and this is why maybe the production is better. They had asked Peter Collins because Peter Collins, I believe, did he did Power Windows, Hold Your Fire. I'm not sure if he did Grace Under Pressure. I don't remember,
Peter
but
Collins?
yeah, but I know
I
he
don't think
did.
he did. I think he just did Power Windows and Hold Your Fire.
Yeah, and that's where all the 80s digital computer keyboards yada yada came out. So they got a guy named Rupert Hine who, I mean, he gave him a great sound on Presto. I'm not really impressed of like who he produced. I mean, he
Give
produced some
us give us some names.
Thompson twins,
Oh gosh.
Howard Howard Jones, and then some good, better quality people. Not that I love Howard Jones. Don't get me wrong. I like
Well,
his.
they're the '80s,
Yeah, yeah.
high
But
'80s, you
not.
know.
Yeah, and the Thompson twins. I don't know. Uh, Tina Turner. He produced her, and so like the big hits like "What's Love Got to Do" and all that. And
Right.
then Stevie Nicks in the '80s. She had some hits. So the guy was a good producer. He know how to get hits out of people. But was he the best choice for Rush? I don't know. The coolest thing that he did was I think he wrote the soundtrack for a great movie called Better Off Dead with John Cusack. You know that movie?
No.
Oh, you got to see that movie, dude. It's great. It's like it's kind of like the Revenge of the Nerds era and that whole like Pretty in Pink and that whole era. But John Cusack, I've always loved him. Thought he was a great actor, so definitely check that movie out. So Presto is the 13th album by our band Rush. It's more radio friendly. The first album to be released on Atlantic. Now they went from Polygram, and I was shocked when I got the tape and I looked at it and it said Atlantic. I'm like, wait, where's Polygram Anthem? Don't know why they left. Could have been their time ran out. Polygram was like, I don't know, guys, you're not making money like you used to. Who knows? I would love to ask them why they went to Atlantic Records.
Right.
So it's the first album released on Atlantic. Like I said, they took 6 months off before they started to record. And this is where Alex gets a little vocal because he was like, he wanted less keyboards and digital sounds and more guitar. So Alex really shines on this album, and it goes back to hard rock guitar. Recorded at La Studios, produced by Rupert Hines. The singles were Show Don't Tell, The Past, Superconductor. Reached number 7 in Canada, 16 in the USA, and it went gold.
Okay.
So that's not bad compared to all the bands we just named. They did. I would say they did pretty good. All right, where am I? Like I said, Alex was sick of kind of taking the back seat and just not really showing off his chops, and sick of the keyboards and stuff. Uh, the lyrics are a little different. They're a little more heartfelt.
Hmm.
From where Neil was coming from, and that's all I got. I think on that, and we'll just jump right into it. So, any questions on production or anything leading up to the album?
No, I think you covered it really well. It's funny because I listened to the album like 5 times 2 days
Yeah,
and more before, and you're right. When you first hear the opening with "Show Me, Don't Tell Me," it's a different album,
yeah, kicks
and you
ass.
can hear it. And I like how you mentioned the producer. What's his name?
Rupert Hines.
When you told me the albums he worked on, it kind of makes sense because I kind of hear that in the sound.
Yeah, yeah,
Which again, it's not overtly keyboard. Keyboards are still there,
lightly. Like there's one song,
very light. Like
piano, and
yeah,
yeah,
the drums are front and center, and the
yeah,
guitar like
yeah.
it plays a more prominent role.
Alex is back, and Getty is like just, oh my god.
No,
Show me, show,
he's insane.
show Don't Tell Me is one of the sickest bass lines. I mean,
Mm,
he's picking up these jazz techniques like from Jeff Berlin, where he's doing a lot of muting and dead notes on the bass, where it's percussive sounding. So Getty's evolving, leading up to his flamenco style bass playing and stuff.
mhm.
So that's a highlight on that song.
Yeah,
Well,
that's definitely the best. One of the best songs.
oh yeah, yeah, definitely. So to break it down and get into lyrics, concepts of what it's about. It's about communication, honesty, and authenticity, a critique of superficial pretentiousness, encouragement and expression, communication with honesty, and then field communication, uh, twist perception, spin the truth. Those are some of the lyrics in there. So basically, I don't know what do you get out of the song? Like fakeness. You know, I'm trying to analyze it. From what I got out of it, it seems
Mm,
like someone's not being honest or authentic enough. From the concept that I'm
mm.
getting. Um, this is interesting, and I don't want to open up a can of worms, but philosophy. When Neil was reading, Jean Bal Baudrillard. Have you heard of him?
Wait, what's his name?
Jean Baudrillard.
How do you spell his last name?
Baudrillard.
Wait, so French sociologist and philosopher?
Yeah, cognitive dissonance is what he.
Oh shoot! Yeah, wait, John Baudrillard, I'm assuming,
Yeah, yeah.
and his subjects:
Cognitive.
hyperreality, consumerism, critique of economy.
Yeah, and this
Wait,
one.
he did cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, this is a theme of the song. One of the concepts that I researched on. And I know we recently just talked about that at the temple. Image and culture, social trends, that kind of thing.
Well, I kind of like with what Rush are saying with show don't tell me,
Oh yeah,
show me,
definitely. Like show me, don't tell me. Exactly. Like if you
show me.
break it down like that way, tensions
Yeah.
between appearance and reality, the importance of being honest. that's the key of this song. The importance of being honest. Show me, don't tell me. Um, musically, like I said, great bass. Getty is just all over. There's a middle section before the solo where Getty does this little bass solo. It's insane. It's insane. Uh, great rhythm section, and Alex just kills the guitar solo. Great drum fills. So that pretty much covers that song. Other philosophers in there that I got, existentialism, objectivism, humanism, and stoicism. Social commentary, personal relationships, personal growth. There's a little bit of Ayn Rand, Nietzsche, and this guy comes up all the time. Robert Persig, the Zen and Motorcycle, uh,
Hmm.
the art of that. He comes up a lot. So anything on that song? Any comments?
I think this song is pretty simple. I think I love
Yeah,
what you said about honesty. Um, this shows Rush's songwriting is getting tighter and stronger.
yeah, definitely.
So there's nothing really like that's masked, but um, like Bert says here, you can twist perception. Yeah, it's about honesty. It's about not lying,
Yeah,
right? And
right.
there's a line here, "Hey, order in the court." So it's kind of funny. It kind of seems like it's a court scene or something.
Mm,
And Getty delivers such a great vocal where he says like, show me, don't
yeah,
tell me, and then let's try to keep it short, and then show me, don't. So yeah,
yeah,
I think it's really simply about honesty and yeah, be
yeah.
authentic and interesting song. Definitely strong. Like it's a strong
Oh yeah.
song. One of the best on this album.
Oh yeah. That and the past are my favorite.
Mhm.
So going to the next one, and musically, I'm going to be saying the same thing. There's not a lot. It's not
No,
2112.
that's key. It's I was reading like a critique about it. Like some critics said like musically it's a little like boring. And
I
that's too cruel. That's
yeah,
too harsh.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like
But
Grace Under Pressure. Like there's a common sound.
yeah, yeah, it's the same. Great bass, great drums, great guitar. There's not like a lot of. You're not going to see Temples of Syrinx in there or anything like that. That kind of thing. Um, so Chain Lightning. Um, I like this song. Um, it talks about nostalgia, reflecting on past experiences, memories, and relationships, embracing change, growth, and transformation, longing for the meaning, longing for a meaningful relationship, um, and in the human connection, remembering the past, embracing change and transformation, the importance of things, and to search for meaning and connection. Any comments on any of those?
Very interesting. Wait, what was like the philosophy behind it? Chain
Boy,
Lightning. I like the title of it, and yeah, it's a good song.
yeah, philosophy. Um, I got existentialism, humanism, stoicism, mythology, symbolism, imagery, stream of consciousness. Some of the people he brought up was Hemingway, Joseph Campbell, Nietzsche, Carl Jung. I guess that would be the stream of consciousness.
Mm.
And this guy, I gotta reread that book, Robert Persis, The Art of Motorcycle Mechanics, The Zen and the Art of Motorcycle, which is like a famous book, which I never read that. I read The Zen and the Art of War, but I never read that book. Which seems to be, um, you know,
Wait, is it a famous book?
yeah, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Repairing or something like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was big in the 70s. Actually, a Kobo's teacher had brought that up to me.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
I talked to him. I guess that was one of his favorite books. Um, so chain lightning is a metaphor, and I love this, for the way events unfold in our lives. Because we don't know. Once again, Pert's got you thinking about how events are unfolding. We don't know what's happening tomorrow. We just
Right.
know the present and we know the past. And then why did these events unfold this particular way? Like, why did these things happen? You know. So it's like thought provoking lyrics, as always. With some literature and philosophy in there. So
It's
uh,
it's a simple song, and once again, it's there. We're probably gonna be saying a lot about this album, or kind of repeating ourselves, but like
yeah,
lyrically, it's tight. It's short to the point, and yeah, it's like lyrically, it's pretty. Like he says here, sundogs, fire on the horizon, meteor rain stars across the night. This moment may be brief. It's like what you're saying, like the life is short thing, but it can be so bright.
yeah,
Reflected in another source of light. When the moment dies, the spark still flies, reflected in another pair of eyes.
yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
poetic. Really.
it's and I like that title, Chain Lightning. It's kind of
Yeah,
interesting too.
it is. And how I like the way life events happen to get you where you are right now.
I would wonder if that's what he's like talking about, like 100%, because yeah, I think the song is about life.
Yeah, and the
Like life
event
was like chain lightning.
that get us there, and like you never know like where tomorrow's gonna take us.
Right.
It's that kind of thing.
Very optimistic song.
Yeah, yeah. But it's like a lot of these songs are gonna have the same like, concepts. It's not changing a lot so far.
Right. I think it's important to know that even though you're mentioning those good philosophers, like I'm struggling to see in the lyrics. The lyrics are actually pretty good. They're tight. Like they would be like what you would hear from like a common like rock or pop song.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's as far as the philosopher goes. What is it?
I could definitely see some I guess existential elements in it.
Yeah, humanism, stoicism, and mythology.
Definitely a humanistic song.
Yeah. Um, stream of consciousness. Do you see any of that in there?
Yeah, because it's interesting.
And that would be young, right? That would be.
No, that's actually the. I think the first one I came up with that was William James.
Oh, that's right. Okay, okay.
So, I'm not sure if it's the stream. Is it the stream of consciousness psychology or writing style? Do you know?
I don't know. That's a good one.
All right, because if it's psychology, so I think this was William James that kind of came up with this idea, but it's the idea that you know the contents of your consciousness.
Yeah.
They're a continuous flow of thoughts, feelings, images, sensations, and intuition. It's sort of like a river.
Right. Right.
And then there's a writing style. It's called a stream of consciousness. It's used in literature. James Joyce was one of the famous ones that used this,
Right.
where it kind of mimics a character's thought process. Because like when people think, it's not like a sentence, like it just keeps going.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, kind
Instead
of
of
automatic writing in a sense, right? Is that the
well,
same?
yeah, because going back to this song is kind of interesting. And yeah, again, we can analyze it here because again, first of all, chain lightning. You got to think about, I think what does he talk about when he talks about chain lightning? Just
Yeah.
I'll ask you first.
Well, chain lightning. I'm thinking about life events. You know what I mean? Like the way everything unfolded in life at that point for Rush, let's say,
Right,
when they go back from their first album to where they are there now,
right.
and and it took
Also,
events.
you're kind of referring to like the band themselves.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, that's interesting because again, if you take it like that, um, I guess from a Neil a per perspective here, I think so. I think for the first time, like Rush is sort of because comparing this song with let's say let's use Grace Under Pressure and let's say Red Sector A or whatever.
right.
Most of the songs they were pretty dark,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
philosophically rich. It's like reading like dark philosophy, like
Yeah,
um
Crowley or something.
right. But this one is so like look at this like. One of the lines I keep repeating is respond. I think this is yeah. And I'll take another argument, but one of the parts here says, and it could be the band themselves responding to, like you said, life,
Yeah.
right, and the music scene. And again, we got to think that chain lightning is the lightning zigzag motion that lightning makes.
Right. Right.
It's
Why?
sort of a metaphor. It could be a metaphor for themselves, life, where life is not a straight line. It's more like you don't know where it's going to take you.
Yeah.
You don't
That
know.
point chain. Yeah. Now I'm seeing it now because like the lightning is a chain, and you don't know where life is going to take
No,
you.
and they say lightning doesn't strike in the same place twice.
Right.
So, and
But
the and
that's not true because I've read people got hit by lightning 9 times. you know.
could be, but there's something odd about that.
Yeah.
Something weird about that. It's one as a side story. The movie The Passion of the Christ.
Yeah. Yeah.
That happened to the actor Jim Caviezel. He got struck by lightning twice in the same spot
Oh,
while
really?
while filming the crucifixion scene.
Holy shit! That
So I
that
feel like there's something to that that's weird, but
that's almost like a God or somebody saying, "Don't make this movie." you know what I mean? Like,
or make this movie and it's like
yeah,
God, like chain lightning.
yeah, yeah. That's
I'm
true.
telling you, you're on the right path.
Or
But
Satan, maybe Satan was hitting him with lightning because he was, you know what I mean? Could have been the dark side. Who knows? That is really creepy.
it's weird. But I guess chain lightning in this song is more used like positively because Pert keeps repeating this line, respond. Right.
Yeah,
So think of Rush, the band, musically responding to what's happening. So he keeps repeating, respond, vibrate, feedback, resonate. So you
yeah,
can kind of think of like and again, and then following the lyrics here, hope is epidemic, optimism breeds. You're right. Rush is optimistic. They're not scared of what's happening in the 80s and then
yeah,
what's going to be happening with the grunge scene
yeah.
that's coming. And then Pert warns people. Bitterness breeds irritation, right? So don't be bitter. Most of the bands got bitter against grunge, for example.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
And then ignorant. I love it. This line is so interesting. I would wonder what you would think of it. Ignorance breeds imitation. What do you think about that?
Ooh, that's a thought.
Ignorance breeds imitation. And remember what we said about Greta Van Fleet and like
Yeah, yeah.
ignorance breeds imitation. Rush are not imitators.
Oh no. So if you're imitating or like we talked,
Dude, it's out of ignorance.
because you can't do something original.
Exactly.
Feeling it's and there's a lot of bands that did that put that out there, like they weren't their own sound. They sounded like another band. They sound like Zeppelin or exactly. There was a band called Kingdom Come before Greta Van Fleet. They were good, but they sounded exactly like Led Zeppelin. I don't know if you ever heard of them. I got to send you the video. So that could be a good example.
And another great example, and again, I'm a big fan of this band. Nickelback got a lot of hate because they were kind of imitating Pearl Jam, especially like Eddie Vedder's like singing style.
I don't really hear that. I thought Nickelback was like their own thing.
Well,
They had
well, okay, but most critics were hating on this band because they
a
were
lot.
saying
Yeah.
they were like Pearl Jam wannabes or even Stone Temple Pilots wannabes.
I, you
But
know.
Nickelback wasn't that. The problem is that their sound, Nickelback always played it safe.
Yeah.
They just got from the '90s, like, all right, this is our scene. Either take us, man, or.
Oh yeah,
But
and
you gotta admit, Nickelback won't be remembered as much as like they're popular, but they don't leave their mark in the same way that Pearl Jam does,
no, no.
right? Or Nirvana's. Even though I know you have your reservation about Nirvana's, Nevermind, but I argue that most of those bands, and watch our grunge episode, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
We did such a great job talking about its post punk roots. So
Oh
you
yeah,
have to be in that scene. You cannot imitate that if you're not part of that scene,
no.
right?
And Nickelback came out a little bit after grunge, right? Like,
Well, they were at the cusp, but instead of like original, like think about it. Do you remember any original 2000 bands?
oh god, yeah. Well,
Limp Bizkit? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna say like Creed, but they were late
Huge,
'90s.
huge. Limp Bizkit?
I hate them. We did it for
No,
the
I'm
name.
just kidding. No, but you know what's funny? Like the 2000s rock sound. I'll give you one. The Strokes.
Oh
Instead of
yeah,
copying,
yeah,
no, they did a rock revival. They got in the past and sort of recovered a little bit of that,
yeah.
kind of like I would argue it's not a New York punk sound. It's a
It sounds like the Velvet Underground. I think,
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm not a fan of the guy, and I openly admitted this on the show, but I will say he was different. Jack White in the White Stripes. That's the same era.
You know, he released a new album recently that's getting a lot of praise.
Really? Wow. Oh, and what about the group we like?
White
Oh God,
Stripes, so you're right.
that other group that we talked about. The something. The guy had a crazy voice. It was
Oh, The Darkness.
Darkness. They came
They're
out.
another one. Yeah, instead of like, they didn't do the Greta Van Fleet, ignorance, no. They had their own thing where
Yeah.
they took to the past, but what they did was they kind of push forward it with it, right? And the other also band that we talked about, Jet.
Oh, Jet. I think out of all the bands, with the exception of the Strokes, I think Jet and the Strokes, but Jet was a little more successful than the Strokes. Commercially, those were the two best 2000 bands.
Yeah.
Prior to that, the late '90s, Buck Cherry, I think, blew everyone's mind away. Godsmack and Creed. Those were three really good bands. I don't know if you're familiar with Godsmack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
back, and they brought the metal back. Buck Cherry brought back the sleaze, the ACDC, and actually
Yeah. Yeah. They
was
sort of
it
like that. Yeah.
Mick Jones? Who's the guy in the Pistols? Mick Jones? No, is that the guitar player? My brain is like fried.
Mick Jones, yeah.
Yeah, he produced that album. So that.
Wow.
So, but yeah. So yeah, this song is very like this took us down the wormhole, but it's very thought provoking. And
Mhm.
there's a lot to it as always. The next one is sad, and my second favorite track
Yeah.
on
Great.
the.
It's funny. At first listen, I never knew that this song would be about like the subject matter they talk about.
I only knew about it because I seen Alex in an interview on a show called Much Music, which was a great show. We used to get it. It was a Canadian MTV, so we got to see
Hmm.
like these great Canadian bands. Obviously Rush was always on, Triumph was always on, but there was bands like Our Lady Peace. There was a band called Scratching Post, and a guy I might have mentioned to you, Matthew Good. Did I ever bring up Matthew Good? The
No.
Matthew Good band I saw in Much Music, and they were like in the middle of the '90s. They were grungy, but Matthew Good was like, oh my god, fucking phenomenal. Anyone out there, listen to Matthew Good from Canada. I'm gonna send you some Matthew Good. Uh, but anyway, Alex said, yeah, this song was about teenage suicide. They might have known someone, I forgot the story, whose child unfortunately committed suicide. And it's sad because it happened then and it's still happening now. And it gets even worse on, cyberbullying and all that shit. You hear about kids, you know, taking their own life. It's really, really sad,
It's so sad. Yeah.
It's like it's crazy. But so yeah, that's the basic concept of it. Um Teenage suicide, bullying, social pressure, mental health, the struggles of adolescence, which you would know being a teacher, seventh and eighth
Mm.
grade. That's
Adolescence is hard,
yeah,
and that's why it's so crucial. I like how Rush, and again, this I love what you said in the beginning. This album is so warm lyrically. Now this song is dark,
yeah,
but I like sort of how they're addressing this issue here. And
yeah.
especially, yeah, you're right. Especially one that when I was listening to that, I was like, what are they talking about here?
There's this one line where it's like, Christ would have you.
No, that's the line. I was like, wait, what? And I had to wait.
Yeah,
What did he say? I look at the lyrics on like Apple Music. I'm like, wait,
yeah, yeah.
what?
Yeah. It's so emotional, and then when you think about the lyrics, and it could almost bring tears to your eyes,
Oh
um
yeah, yeah.
no,
Well, and it's funny how he starts here like rebel without a conscience, martyr without a cause.
yeah.
'Cause think of like most teenagers and adolescents. Again, it's a hard time. It's a
It,
hard time, and I feel so bad for those. And I know, aside from the Dahmer kid in subdivisions,
well, he got
um,
he got his vengeance.
and that's just because of the video,
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that song, I feel like this could be like a spiritual sequel, only because I see it in adolescence, those kids that get kind of subdivided.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
alone, and I'm thinking, man,
No, but those are
you
the
know,
kids that grow up to be the Neil Pearts.
yeah. I
Those,
wonder. What's
those
funny with this song?
grow up to
I would
be,
wonder if this is based sort of a little bit on Neil's life
yeah,
before becoming famous.
you know. But when a kid, like, when it's just so sad because like for a kid to do that, teenager to do that. I knew a
Yeah.
kid in high school who did it, and you're just and it messes up like not only the families but like the classmates. You're like, oh my god,
Yeah, dude, that happened to my brother.
and now he's gone. You know, it's
Dude,
really
that's what happened to my brother. In one of his grades, that some girl committed suicide, and the teachers, you know, took it pretty hard, and the students.
oh yeah,
Oh,
that's
and just as an aside, like not a suicide per se, but in my school there was a death of um, a poor kid passed away from cancer. It's like it
uh,
leaves sort of like a mark.
when I
That's young, and imagine someone like young like doing suicide.
that's horrible. When I was in Park Avenue, like elementary school, I remember a girl died of leukemia, and it was like Jesus, and you're little, and you're just like, where are they? Where'd they go? You know what I mean? They
It's
go to
like how do you process it?
yeah. It's hard to. So yeah, so this is really
So she's musically. What tell us about some musically?
musically great arpeggios. Again, now Getty is changing his bass style. He's using chords.
Yeah,
Down, 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 down. Those are all bass chords. It's beautiful the way he does it. He's using a root and a fifth, a power chord. And that's the first time I actually heard him using chords like that. Now Steve Harris uses chords as well, but he uses a root, a fifth, and an octave, and he strums them like a guitar. Getty plucks them, and it's a real beautiful sound. The drums are kind of straight ahead, but he does this awesome thing where he does like a double hit on the snare drum, which is amazing. Great guitar work, emotional vocals.
yeah,
What would have you done? Um, and it's an anthem for those struggling, and it just really, really sad. It's just a sad situation. Like I said, Alex did say it came from a real maybe one of his kids' friends died or somebody in the class. Yeah, he didn't go into detail, but it had to be somebody who they knew. You know what I mean? Who passed away. But as far as lyrics go, this is interesting. Influences. Hemingway comes up. Um, with his struggles. John Irving, uh, novels on adolescence, identity, social pressure. Joseph Campbell, compartmental studies, human connection. Um, and I don't know if you know this guy. I think you said you did. R.D. Lang.
yeah. Psychiatrist.
Yeah, mental health. The Catcher in the Rye comes up.
That's it. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, J.G. Salinger. The Bell Jar, Sylvia Plath.
Hmm.
Ironically, she took her own life. I don't know if you ever saw her movie about.
No.
Oh, it's great. It's great. She was. Oh my God! If Nietzsche, she's like right under Nietzsche as far as being tormented. Sylvia Plath, the poet, she was
Hmm.
just totally, and it says Camus, uh, John Knowles. Do you ever hear of him?
No.
Another person. So, yeah, that's just a sad subject to sing about, and it still goes on. Unfortunately, it might be worse now with like cyber and YouTube,
Hmm.
not YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Kids are just fucking evil to each other. You know, it's
Yeah.
crazy, and you would know that way better than
Don't get me started.
I won't. You would know that better than me.
Hmm.
But the struggles. You see it every day with that. You're teaching what, seventh and eighth.
Yeah.
So that's because you're not quite a kid anymore. and you're not quite a teen.
No, you're in this like awkward position, dude, and they can be cruel to each other.
Oh yeah, they could be really mean. I remember. Oh God, I remember in the '80s. It was.
Dude, I think kids were meaner back then. Like,
Oh,
yes, I feel as though like bullying is more common because of cyberbullying, but back then,
no,
whew,
back then it was like wedgies. Like I remember like I'm not gonna mention any of my friends' names, but getting this one kid. I never was a bully, but I would like sit there. I didn't stop it, but they would get a kid get the wedgies were big, and just literally rip the kid's fucking underwear. The kid's hanging, you know, and his underwear's like over his head, and in front of everybody, and the whole monitor. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Kids got no underwear on for the rest of the day, and God forbid if you looked different or you got picked on.
dude, it was
It,
over.
it was brutal. It was brutal, man. If you were overweight, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just getting. I always felt sorry.
What's funny? I see that, and obviously, me when I have to stop it, obviously, or when
Yeah, yeah,
but I hear some of what the kids say to each other, or I'm thinking, man, you kids are rough.
yeah,
I
yeah.
would not want to be an adolescent anymore.
No, no. I never had any problems picking on me.
Same.
Um, but if I did, I remember like a couple situations. I always went right to the counselor or the teacher. I said, "This fucking asshole's picking on me," and it got squashed right away. I
Yep.
you know what's crazy? I did. This is a funny story. I had a kid who wanted to fight me in seventh grade, and I wasn't a fighter, and I was like, I ran out of there, and he was in my art class, and I got in my car. My mother picked me up, and I was like upset. This is a true story, dude. I swear to God. The next day, I was waking up, and I went outside to play basketball. And in my yard is a church. There's a church and a house, and I see the pastor. It's not Catholic, and I see one of the kids that I went to high school with, and the kid who was bullying me was there in the next yard, and I was like, I felt like I was dreaming. And then I went to the pastor and I told him, and me and this kid, his name was Eric, he was bullying, we became friends. But could you imagine that? The kid who was bullying me, I woke up and saw him in my yard the next morning.
It's weird.
Dude, I'm not making this shit up. And
No, that's weird.
I'm like, only me this could happen to. But we became friends, so it's a happy ending. It's not like I'm this kid in the past, But it was like we ended up playing basketball because basketball was the thing. And I did challenge Devontae in a basketball game anytime. 55-year-old man taking down a 23-year-old. I still got it. I still got this outside shot. Anyway, so the next song is called War Paint. This is interesting. This is I think this could apply to the temple. Actually, the concepts in here. Um, and it's masking our true self,
Mm,
by putting war, the metaphor of war paint, like
mm.
American or whatever, social conformity, hidden emotions, inner conflict, the social masks that people wear,
Right. Just like a
Hu-
common psychology theory.
human behavior, you know. So you see these people who put on these masks and they're being phonies and fake, and it's really, you know, they're not a nice person. They're really deep down, they got that smile, and
Right.
there's an evilness underneath there. Any comments on that?
Man, they get me started.
It's like we definitely could. I think we could appreciate that. All those comments.
Hmm.
Musically, um, driving bass line, amazing drums, moody atmospheric guitar sounds, A commentary on social pressures. Books Neil was reading. Um, Irving Joffman, Sociology. I don't know if
Mm.
you ever heard of him. Carl Jung, Psychology, Persona. Robinson Davis, Carl Jung, Man and His Symbols, Existentialism and Humanism. Um, Neil was interested in social masks and how it affects relationships and tensions between the public and the private. So once again, Neil has to put a social mask on when he's playing. He's Neil Peart, but his private life, he's somebody different, you know, and he doesn't want to be bothered. So that could be, a
Right.
concept in that song, you
Well,
know.
him as a drummer, like that's one mask he wears.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, like, what is the real Peart? I'll be honest, he's like a mystery, and someone similar. And again, we all wear these masks. Like
Oh, we all,
we all. It's when we were talking about Mr. Jimmy, or what's that guy's name? The Jimmy Page.
yeah. Jimmy, a Japanese guy, I forget
And,
his.
and I mentioned to you and Joe that he has this mask of Jimmy Page, right? He's doing a good job of it, like copying his
Yeah,
guitar work style, playing his
yeah,
style and his stylistic clothing choices and all that, which is pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
But my thing with that is like, well, what is he underneath? Like,
yeah.
who is
Exactly,
he?
exactly.
And like this war paint, I think I like that kind of like idea
Yeah,
that you put on war paint usually, when you're ready for combat or
yeah,
going out in there.
yeah. And yeah, and even like like for instance, like let's just say the band Mayhem that just popped in my head. You know, you know they're doing this evil, awful stuff, but off stage you know, were they really that evil? I mean, some of them were, but like, or just or these black metal bands, or are they just like nice guys? You know what I mean? Is it all just image? I know like King Diamond, the most evil singer and stuff like that, but he's a really nice guy in interviews. He's not evil, so that's another mask kind of thing,
Right.
So that kind of thing. So anything else on that, or just
Solid song.
yeah, good song. That's the thing with this album. It's like, you know, it's a little bit like the same. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of
Yeah, like production wise, like
you
musically,
know.
it has a sound that's so similar on every track.
Yeah, it does. This one is good. Scars,
Hmm.
good song. Emotional scars, painful memories, healing, growth, loss and pain, human resilience, emotional healing. How do you feel about those comments?
Yeah, no, it's lyrically you hit the nose. It's beautiful song, very lyrically sharp,
Yeah.
good. Like I could see this like charting somewhere.
Oh yeah, yeah, and we all have scars. We all have our scars, and I like the emotional healing part because like some people heal and some people don't emotionally,
Right.
which is you wonder why. What makes somebody stay stuck or somebody could move forward in
Well,
life.
it's kind of like your response to trauma. That's the thing because Young had this really crazy idea about it. I'm not gonna talk about it here, but it ran a future psych episode. But um, yeah, no, I think Rush hits it on the nose when they talk about you know when you're recovering from something like I'm talking about like emotional stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It leaves scars, right? You don't see it, but it's there.
It's emotional. It's not like
Right.
somebody cut you in the face with an ice pick or
And,
something.
and when you have trauma or you respond to trauma,
Yeah,
like according to Young, your mind has these kind of like depending, like let's say if you had a scar already,
yeah,
like there's a new trauma, like you're gonna struggle if you don't recover emotionally.
yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so like I think this song kind of hits about that. And um, there's a great line here where he says here, pleasure leaves a fingerprint as surely as mortal pain. In memories, they resonate and echo back again.
Yeah, that's poetic. That's amazing.
So really good lines here.
Yeah, I mean, haunting guitar arpeggios, great bass, intricate drummings. He gets a little bit more complicated,
Right.
and emotional vocals. So, once again, pretty straightforward. Um,
Straightforward. Musically,
yeah,
it's gonna be like our common thing. It's not no. It's. I'm trying to describe the sound of the album. Like it's much better.
I might just open up a can of worms on the books that he was reading. I don't know. I'll just throw them at you. Sartre, Heidegger, Camus, the myth of Sisyphus.
That's interesting.
You know, uh, and that I don't know how that affects with scars, like throwing that rock up the hill and it keeps coming back down. I feel like I live that every day at the temple.
Dude, this song is about the temple, man.
Yeah.
Also, dude, look at this. I stood upon my mountaintop and shouted at the sky, walked above the pavement with my sense amplified. Yeah, man, no, dude, when you go in the temple, like, you're this person that wants to shout at the mountains, you know how corrupt this place is.
Oh yeah, throwing the rock up against the thing and you want it to stay coming down. You tell me if this makes sense. Stoicism.
Stoicism.
Yeah, yeah. Marcus Aurelius,
Ooh,
meditation,
well,
resilience, wisdom.
well, you know what's funny? Yes, but the thing is, so the Stoics would respond to this because the thing is, like, they have this line here: "Scars are pleasure and scars are pain." The scars of pleasure is interesting. I would wonder what they mean by that, but and then he said again, like he's using a metaphor for the mind, like the mind as a storm, where he says atmospheric changes make them sensitive again. And so the Stoics would say, for example, let go. It's in your mind. Focus in reality. So
Right,
I don't know which world you would choose, the world of the mind or reality.
right, and that's in the song.
Yes, and the key to dealing with trauma, and again, I don't know. This is just an opinion. Like if I was a counselor, like I would look at all sides, and I
Yeah,
do because listen, for example, if Hispanics been have been through the worst trauma that you can think of, and yet they always conclude by saying, "But all thanks to God." It's like a joke, you
yeah,
know. Like they'll be like, "Yeah, my dad abused me, and mama banned me, but listen, all thanks to God." They'll be like, "Gracias a Dios." So that's the way they kind of cope with that trauma, and so
right,
I can see the stoicism, but no stoicism in this one. But there is a stoic, a stoic ready that's going to respond to this man that sort of has these, obvious scars.
right, right, right. So okay, so you said like Seneca and all all the what else? Marcus Aurelius and
It's Seneca is, yeah, Marcus Aurelius is not the man that invented stoicism, but he was one that applied it.
right. So you definitely can kind of see it in the lyrics. I'm
So
kind of
like a Seneca would like respond to it because for example, like Seneca would talk about living in the present.
yeah,
So he believed that people should focus on, like, the Stoics believe that, and especially him, but focus on the present and not worry about the future.
right. Well,
So
that
this
makes
guy,
that makes a lot of sense when you think about it.
dude, in understanding nature, man, knowledge of one's own nature, it's
Yeah,
connected to knowledge of nature. So like I think that's what the song is. And then it's interesting. They have this interesting line here. I think this might be the Seneca line, where he says, um, "This actually might be the Seneca line because this line kept kind of like making me think where." When he says, well, first of all, there's a weird line here, Serengeti Night, which is interesting. But then he has a song with pleasure leaves a fingerprint, and Seneca was saying that you have to moderate destructive passions like
yeah,
anger and
yeah,
grief, right?
yeah.
So there's always this, the song. Yeah, actually, you know what? It is a Stoic song,
Wow, that's
but
why
there's,
I love it
there's
about you, man. You like I'll read, I'll do my research, and it'll say Stoic influence, and I'm like, I don't see it because I haven't studied
no. I
enough.
see it, man. I see
But
it,
like,
brother.
know how to like pick it apart. I don't. That's amazing, man.
Dude, and scars of pleasure. I was thinking about, like, what does that mean? And think about it, because anger, in a way, the destructive passions do bring on pleasure,
Yeah.
like like anger and grief. And then so that's Seneca, and then and obviously Marcus Aurelius, who
Yeah.
uh, um, Marcus Aurelius. I think Gil likes Stoics too, by the way.
He
But
does. Yeah, I've talked to Gil about that.
yeah, but you have to embrace adversity, right?
Yeah.
He was always about practicing self discipline. So again, this person who has scars, who stood upon his mountain and shouted at the sky, and he keeps saying, "I get this feeling," right? And again, I think the source from this, and he also says, "All my nerves are naked wires." That's a good image. My nerves are naked wires, tender to the touch, sometimes super sensitive. You've dealt with people who've dealt with trauma; they're super sensitive. But then
Yeah.
he says, "But who can care too much?" And he keeps repeating, "I get this feeling." So Aurelius could be talking about him, or Aurelius would come up to him and say, for example, practice self discipline. He was famous also for saying, accepting death, that live in the present moment, don't
Oh,
focus on.
is this radical acceptance we're talking about?
No, this is Stoicism.
No, but radical acceptance, is that a part of like, would that be a part? Does that concept come from that?
Not quite. That's actually something else.
Okay, okay, okay,
That's in the more the humanistic psych stuff.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, but this is but it does in a way. But no, the Stoics more have this sort of like it's so Roman, and like literally no pun intended, stoic,
Yeah,
that you know um focus on the now, right? Like don't. And again, just going back to this song, obviously this person is stuck inside their mind,
yeah.
right? And who would and again, I see the Stoicism now.
I know it's
So it is a Stoic song,
open
and
can of worms.
dude, an interesting line is I love, and again, I love how he throws this Hemingway kind of stuff in here where he says,
Yeah,
"Snow falls deep around my house," symbol, right, for the
yeah,
mind,
yeah,
and
yeah,
holds the winter light. And think about winter light. Where's that light coming from? Right, it's cold light.
yeah.
I've heard the lions hunting in the Serengeti night. And again, lions hunting. You don't want to hear lions hunting if you're
No,
by yourself.
nope.
So this person is literally they're I'm not sure if they're prisoners of their mind, but it's
I
sort
think
of.
internal. I think it's all internal.
Yep. And so and it's funny because um so like I love Marcus Aurelius. If anything, he's sort of like a spiritual father
Oh yeah, yeah,
for
yeah,
me. I love Marcus Aurelius, and again he says, he was famous for being super practical. He says, this person is seeing adversity, so he would say, embrace it, practice self discipline, be grateful, be humble, right?
yeah,
Be kind. It's so far it's common sense, but
yeah.
this is like 2,000 years ago.
And,
So he's like the first psychologist, and then Rush is making a song about it.
I know it's amazing, and it still applies now. The
Oh,
theories.
it's relevant, man.
How is that possible? Like from 2000, how did these guys come up with this shit? Like, because
It's
life was not that complicated 2000 years ago.
no.
I mean, emotionally it was, physically it was, mentally, physically, but like, I don't think there. I mean, there's always been ego in the world, and there's always, been fight, like,
Dionysus and um
you know. So, but like not like today, where there's so many problems,
oh, today, no, not, you're right. Stoicism, and I would argue teachings of Jesus, are definitely going to help with today's world.
Oh yeah.
Jesus was sort of like a stoic too.
Oh, Jesus, really? You would put him in that category?
Well, he was already preaching something. For example, he would say, focus on the present moment,
Yeah,
like don't no trust in the Father. So it's
yeah. Which
so
is almost Zen in that sense. Like,
there was somebody that tried to argue that, because you know what Zen is, right?
well, Zen is finding inner peace in that kind of mentality, trying to
Mhm.
find your own peace in your mind to achieve Zen. I think that's my interpretation of it from what I read. You know,
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's self control and insight meditation. It's at the
yeah,
heart. So
Yeah.
prayer as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was somebody that tried to, I think it was Alan Watts that tried to make that argument, like Jesus and Zen.
As the same kind of thing.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
I would disagree with that, but because it's kind of different. But
Well,
yeah, this Scars is a Stoic song though.
he might have been Alan Watts might have just been preachers of peace. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
kind of mentality. Like you could say Buddha, Krishna. All these people are preaching peace. That kind of thing, possibly. But yeah. So we got a little crazy on that one. I knew it. I knew it. Good old Seneca, man. Okay, this is interesting. Presto.
The
Cool.
title track of the album.
Yeah, title track of the album. Uh, the music of life and time. I really like this concept. Time is an illusion, and how it tricks us to believing that things are permanent.
What do you think about that?
I think when you're young, you feel that way. Like time's gonna
But then,
last.
but then that would give evidence how time is an illusion, right?
Yeah, like when you're young. I mean, when you're super young, you don't think about time. When you're like a little kid, you just like can't wait to go to school. You're not thinking about tomorrow. You're not worried about like, oh, what am I gonna. You're living. Little kids really live in the moment when you think about it. Like little
Well,
kids.
dude, but that's going back to Stoicism.
Yeah,
Not,
but
not, not- dude, and it's funny because Aristotle. I'm gonna mention some Aristotle because I think Presto is an Aristotelian song.
yeah, yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Because he says
I
here,
it might be in my notes if when we get there, but I'll try to find Aristotle. I don't have Aristotle, but that's a great point. That
it's funny. I'm still also like thinking of my time philosophy, but I think time is an illusion. First of all,
mm,
and the thing is, when you're young, you're right. When you're young, I'm relatively still young, but you ignore sort of like, again. So Aristotle, for example, said that time is a measurement of change.
yeah, yeah,
It's not really calculating forward. It's sort of like because you're not going anywhere. You're just
no,
changing.
yeah,
So, and again, this song, I kind of like how it says, "Hey, look at this." If I and again, when you read this, it's kind of corny, but I think it's kind of cool. If I could wave my magic wand, right, which is kind of interesting, and then it says, "I am made from the dust of the stars, and the oceans flow in my veins.
mm,
Here I hide in the heart of the city, like a stranger coming out of the rain." Very poetic. The
yeah,
evening plane rises up from the runway over constellations of light. I look down into a million houses and I wonder what you're doing tonight, right?
yeah.
And I like what you said here about like sort of like this passage of time where this person is clearly not worried about time, but focusing on the now and how
It's
and
you just brought me back. Like I remember. I actually when this came out, I made a mixtape and I sent this song to my ex girlfriend in high school because it reminded me of her. She moved to Mayapack, and I remember
yeah, how
like.
did she take it?
Well, we reconnected at this point for a little bit, and I said, well, I got a song that reminds me of you, and like but it didn't work out. But I just got a flashback when you were saying those lyrics. It's crazy,
That's
crazy.
crazy.
And I remember learning this song in Bass Player magazine. They had the bass line in it in Presto.
Mm.
But I think like when you're young, when you're super young, you're not thinking about time. You're not thinking about it. You just living your life. And even as you get older, you're not when you're 30, you're not thinking about when you're 50. And it's gonna creep up. And then when you're my age, I'm not thinking about 75. I'm not thinking about and it's gonna creep up, you know. And it just as we age, we start to think more about time. I think, and like in the future and the timelines and marriage and babies and kids and yada 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 and money. But the best time is really when you're at peace, is when you're a little kid. That's when you've achieved Zen. You've achieved
Yeah,
Zen when you're like fucking seven
yeah.
years old without even knowing what the fuck Zen is. You're just like, oh man, I can't wait to wake up tomorrow, go to school and play kickball with my friends,
I, I would wonder, and again, this is kind of based on. Oh, I'm not even gonna go there. But all I'll say is, I would wonder. I always argue in when I talk about like religion, philosophy. I would wonder if the point of all of life is to go back to the garden, to that mindset when
Cave,
you were a kid.
Plato's Cave.
Well, that's interesting, right? Is it better to be outside the cave and
Yeah.
have or better to be that kid that watches shadows on the walls? What do you think?
But, uh,
And
yeah.
if I could quote Presto, if I could wave my magic wand, that's why I like that line.
I,
Corny,
al-
but
I always say one day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be back in the crib.
interesting, right?
And this is all a dream. Everything up to now is a dream. Like, it's always been like a weird philosophical thing in my head. Like, okay, I'm gonna wake up one day and I'm gonna be a baby again and just be myself, but relive my life. And then I don't know. Does that mean did you die? The concept when you die, are you reborn as yourself again and you just live your same life again? Now we're getting fucking crazy. I'm getting crazy. I don't know, but
Good
anyway,
song though.
it's really interesting. Change and transformation, uh, life's constant change, and adapting. Really, you got to adapt to change, and that's the key, I think. Adapting to change, and and time is marching on as always. Musically, it's a great song, driving rhythm, great guitar,
Hmm.
tempo changes, great bass lines, thought provoking lyrics as we just went over. Uh, commentary on time in life and human experience. I didn't even get into like what he was reading. I'll be careful where I go with this. Oh God. Okay. So should I go to the one that's probably gonna you know take us somewhere? We already talked about him, but it's Stoic. All these Stoic guys come. I'm gonna
Right.
say the name wrong. EPIC.
Oh, Epicurus.
Yes,
He's the
discord.
founder of Stoicism.
Yep, self control. So he comes up, and the other two guys, Marcus Aurelius and Seneca. You
What
know,
if this is like the like Stoic album?
it seems like it. I mean, the lyrics make sense. That this is like so philosophical, thought provoking. Another person, Eric Erickson,
Yeah, I could see that. But
probably.
a psychologist.
Yep. Carl Sagan comes up, the
Yeah.
Cosmo, and a guy named Martin Gardner. So that got pretty heavy. We got pretty deep on that. you know, maybe tomorrow we'll all wake up and we'll be 5 years old again.
Who knows? Back to the garden.
Exactly. Okay, this is my third favorite song, "Superconductor." Did you listen to this one? This is a really good song.
No, it's good. Very
It's
good
kind of
song.
weird. Neil does a weird thing where at the end where he's like, "That's nice." It's so fun.
Dude, I saw that and I always laugh when
I
I
was like,
hear that.
"What the fuck?"
It's like when he was rapping, remember?
It's well,
Oh, in
there.
the future.
Yeah, in the future. So superconductors, no stoic stuff, but just the power of media, communications, uh, are willing to participate in the consumer's dream, snaps of reality frozen in time.
Mm.
The distance grows, the tension builds. The media influences perception, reality versus illusion, social isolation, and then technology is a double-edged
Yeah.
sword. So this is them kind of talking about the world we live in now.
Hmm.
You know, how everything is commercial. Right now for Christmas, forget about it.
Target mass appeal.
It's beyond commercial Christmas. Like keep Christ in Christmas, but it's like you know
I know.
it,
Dude,
it,
don't get me started. Do not get me started.
everything is so commercial.
Dude, you even at the temple, bro. It's
Oh
funny.
yeah.
Me and my coworker, we say, "Dude, where's the spirit, man? Like everything's so. We're just
It,
here because
I mean,
illusion and money."
I like the happy holidays, but I still say Merry Christmas. You know, like the people.
Well,
I
dude, if I may, dude, with happy holidays, fuck you very much. The thing with
but
that
but
is, dude,
the only time I say Happy Holidays is if you're Jewish, because
I would say f that, man. Like, dude,
I
Jews have Hanukkah, we have Christmas. Like,
yeah.
no
Well,
offense, like nobody's saying happy dreidel, happy Hanukkah.
yeah, yeah. But it should be Merry Christmas. I people don't say it anymore. It's like, oh, happy holiday, have a
Dude,
great.
no, you know what's funny? Like every time, if I do say happy holidays, you know why?
Why?
Because of a certain Jew that wrote, you know, I always say like happy holidays, the song.
Irving
Have
Berlin.
a merry Christmas.
No, I always say Christmas, and I got pissed, man. I got really angry a few years back down in Rye Ridge and Rye Brook. They had Santa Claus from when I was a fucking little kid. Like when I was born, I'd go and see Santa Claus. I took my kid to see Santa Claus. Some asshole said no more Santa Claus down there, and it's like
Dude, I don't understand that. That's not like Santa Claus. Yeah, it's
Santa
like
Claus. They making a comeback because I see more and more places. Like when I was
bro.
a kid, when you were a kid, you'd go everywhere this time of year. You could meet Santa Claus, and then it stopped. It just like stopped. There wasn't like no Santa Clauses. You have to go to the mall, or that's it.
Well, and also good Christmas movies. Like most movies that come out
Oh,
suck.
it's
We were
time.
talking about the Death of the Christmas album, dude.
Yeah,
If you listen to, like, for example, like, no, Mariah Carey, I'm like, eh. And if you listen to most Christmas albums kind of ignore the Jesus songs
yeah,
and
yeah.
focus too much on as you said,
Happy
on
Holiday.
the entertainment, on the happy holidays, but they forget what makes it happy.
Jesus.
And they target mass appeal. Oh, we're not gonna include Santa Claus because of people that don't believe in him, even though
Well,
it's like,
I mean, if you don't believe in if you're not cool with Santa Claus on Christmas, fuck you very much. You know
dude,
what I mean?
Father Christmas.
I mean, you know, Santa Claus is Christmas, and Jesus is number one, and then there's Santa Claus. That's the whole part of the whole thing. So after my kid was like maybe old, too old to go see Santa Claus, they did away with it down Rye Ridge where I went,
Horrible,
mother
horrible.
kid, and it was just these stupid people that were
No,
just like,
think about it. What do kids have then?
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's why, again, going back to the anxiety of that we talked about in the past, bringing it back to Rush.
yeah.
That's why kids are full of anxiety, man.
Oh
And
no,
it's funny. Like I obviously, without disclosing too much, I work at a pro Christmas school,
yeah.
so they embrace the spirit, and you see the
Oh,
children happy. But if you go to other schools, man, like,
they
oh
don't have.
gosh, kids are horrible.
They stopped the Christmas tree at one point, and they stopped. Everything had to be equal, and it's like you need Santa Claus, you need Christ, you need Hanukkah lights, you need all that stuff this time of year to make everybody happy, But I'm always saying Merry Christmas, and I'm always saying hi to Santa Claus, and I hope they never stop that shit for the politically correct or what or weirdos that don't believe. Like all the atheists come out, maybe, oh, fuck Christmas. No, go fuck you very much. You know what
Thank
I
you
mean?
very much, man.
Bring back the Christ and Christmas, man.
Dude,
And
if I can quote Rush on the song, hit you in a soft place with sentimental ease. They know the fantasies that you romance to, man. That's Christmas. Come on.
Is this a Christmas song? It
You
could
know, it's funny. Can we on the could this be Rush's Christmas song? We argue it might have been closer to the
no.
heart.
I think it's more of like the commercial
Yeah, yeah.
mise of like Christmas is Mary on a donkey going to a stable, giving
No,
birth.
you're right about how it describes today's world. Look at this. The role becomes the actor. She's addicted to applause. The stage of world because she never leaves it. Right, like it's just entertainment. You put a target on the market,
Yeah.
bask in your applause, dude. That's like all like Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar.
Yep. It's 8 o'clock. Whatever.
Dude, you don't have artists with integrity like Rush,
No.
freaking Andy Williams, Nat King Cole, Elvis Presley.
Well, you got Kendrick Lamar.
Oh man, mass appeal, brother.
I
Dude,
know.
that's the thing. Look who has mass appeal. Look, superconductor.
That's got to be a code name now. Superconductor.
Dude, every time you mention these type of discussions, superconductor, man.
Yeah, it's definitely going to come up, and so bringing up musically, it's a great song, upbeat, fast. They had a video for it. Great bass, great guitar, drums are really fast, and then the crazy ending. That's nice. Don't know
Dude,
what
I always laugh. Dude, that's like a callback to
necromancer
it's
some ways.
just really fun. It's those little Rush things.
Yeah.
Freaking Neil Peart.
Oh yeah, they were just fucking around in the studio probably. So Orwell comes up, 1984.
Yeah, commercialism.
Huxley, Brave New World.
Yeah.
Now, you may know these guys. I don't know. I never heard of this person. Ludwig Wittgenstein.
Rickenstein. He's on the song?
That's one of the influences.
How?
That
Wait a minute, because of language.
lang-
Wait, Ludwig Wittgenstein.
language, role, and shaping reality.
Yo, that's crazy, dude.
Heidegger also is in there. But yeah,
It's like this philosophy like simplified.
yeah. I don't know much about him at all. I
Well,
gotta.
Ludwig Wittgenstein, dude, he's one of the famous philosophers.
Yeah, I got. Like I heard of him, but I never actually studied his shit too much.
Well, it's funny because he has so what he did was remember Bertrand Russell?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He worked on the Bertrand Russell, and he's very influential. He pretty much set out to not destroy not destroy Plato or Aristotle, but what he was saying, he focuses stuff on language.
Okay.
And so that would actually make sense why the song is titled Superconductor.
Yeah.
Because Neil is trying to describe, the reality. Because look at this. So, so Wittgenstein was sort of like philosophizing about language and
Mhm.
reality. So he kind of believed that language and reality that they share a logical structure. So going back to this idea of the superconductor, so Pert is trying to describe, right, sort of like the logical structure underneath what he sees in this, like, you know
Yeah.
like everybody loving Kendrick Lamar, for example.
Yeah.
Going back to this, so he thought that the meaning of words is determined by. So he came up with this idea that we play language games
Yeah.
and that the world is defined by words that we choose. So I think this is Wittgenstein's song because they keep repeating superconductor,
Right. Right. Right.
right? And again here you're right. They're focusing more on like sort of like the mindless commercialism stuff. And again, it could be commentary also of their time because Rush doesn't conform,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? So and yeah, man, the world is defined by the superconductor. So those people having the debates over a commercial star, they're superconductors.
Yeah. And who's the biggest superconductor in the world? Amazon.
And we at the temple, man, without going into too much detail,
Yeah.
are a part
That,
of it.
that's a superconductor. So anyway, we'll move on. But that was pretty heavy. Uh, The next one, Anagram.
Dude, I feel like this is their Bible song.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Decoding life's mystery. You know. Um, I'm always gonna say this wrong.
Wait,
Crypt
who's Mongo?
Mongo.
Because the song says for Mongo.
No idea.
I wonder who that is, right? Because that's what it says in the song and the
Anagram
title.
Mongo. I missed that one. Um, crypto. I'm gonna say this wrong. Cryptography and coding, symbols and hidden meanings, personal growth, seeking answers in life. There you go. When you say religion, unraveling mystery. You know, so I think definitely this is a religious kind of song, and I like the unraveling mysteries and seeking answers in life.
Hmm.
No, in the belief of if it's a religious song, we're seeking answers, and you have to go on blind faith. You got to believe.
Yeah, that's what faith's all about.
Yeah,
You gotta take. You gotta believe, man.
this is becoming a Christmas show. Bring the Christ back.
I guess it's like we didn't do it on purpose, by the way.
No,
We gotta
I just
tell our audience. No, I think we gotta tell our audience, like, we're both Catholic. We both love Christmas. We both love Christmas music. I'm
yeah.
wearing a Christmas sweater. I think it just Presto might be, it just turned into a Christmas show.
Presto has underlying themes in it that are related to religion. And
Well, dude, just without telling me too much, there's a snake coming out of the darkness. Look at this. A parade from paradise. End the need for Eden. Chase the dreams of merchandise. And so this is straight up Genesis. And then they say here there's tick and talk and atomic leaders make a deal. The cosmic is largely comic. They're talking about human affairs, a con they couldn't conceal. And then they say there's no safe seat at the feast. Take your best step at the beast. Now that's interesting because I feel like that's sort of like that's connected to Hotel California.
oh yeah, that's
And the reason why is this: the night is turning thin, the saint is turning to sin. And so what it seems to me is like it's definitely religious because and just keep going on skipping here. Miracles will have their claimers. More will bow to Rome. He and she are in the house, but there's only me at home. So they're sort of like describing somebody, falling, turning away from faith.
yeah, yeah. Some
He like describes today's political situation on so many levels.
it's almost you could look at it from Lucifer's fall from heaven. You could look at it in the world today, lack of faith. People not believing in God or whatever your religion is, or
Dude, no, and dude, look at this Christmas. Look at this. Straight lyrics from the song. Take heart from earth and weather, the brightness of new birth. That kind of sounds like a certain birth of a.
where is this going? Jeez.
Take heart from the harvest. Jesus says that the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Shave the harvest from the earth. It's kind of interesting. This might be Rush's most religious song.
And I don't think they ever wrote a religious song, like
No,
because I don't think they were very religious people. I think I read they're not religious at all.
no. If anything, they might be atheistic or agnostic, and
No,
they're actually existentialists, or maybe just Bert is. But
I think they're agnostic more than anything. Because I know Getty was Jewish, but not a practicing.
right, right.
Um. So yeah, man. So you nailed it. You just nailed it. On that. So definitely a religious song, however you want to, take it. Okay. This might lead us somewhere. Um. David Kahn, the Code Breakers. I don't know if heard of him. This is gonna. You mentioned this guy in the episode already. You already mentioned him. James Joyce, Ulysses, Symbolism.
Yeah, dude, this is, and that's a heavy symbolic work.
Yeah, it's funny.
I love that work.
Yeah, I'm familiar with James. I read some. It's pretty heavy. Ulysses is heavy to read. It's a,
Oh, dude, talk about anagrams, brother. Like it, you even the Bible, like you. That's why when you read works like this, I try to teach my students this, but it's so hard with obviously like adolescence, like
yeah,
going back to adolescence. Like I always say, I thirst for brains. Like I need brains. Like because
yeah,
to talk about symbol like anagrams, I love that idea because going back to the song, there's a snake coming out of the darkness. Like think about like the darkness and let's say at the temple, the
yeah,
darkness, commercially. What is that darkness? Is that sort of symbolic, reformation and representation of Satan? I
yeah,
think John Milton captured it perfectly. Fallen Lucifer,
yeah,
he was a bearer of light, but now he bears the false light.
yeah.
I'm
Exactly.
thinking about when he appears out of your darkness, when you were under the grips of Lamias,
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. It's
and he
crazy.
says here, parade from paradise, end the need for Eden. So he wants to end Eden, like it's pretty
Wow.
heavy.
Jesus, man, this is fucking nuts. Oh, and then I'm gonna throw this at you, which might open up a can of worms. Plato's Republic.
Dude, this is Plato's. I don't know if you want to go there because we probably need 20 minutes. Plato's Republic. I agree a lot with Plato, and I agree because this song is also is at the same time it's like a political. Um, yeah, man, this is Plato's Republic because Plato was sort of like religious in a way.
Yeah, yeah. And this other guy, Raymond Maulian, The Lady or the Tiger. I don't know if you're familiar with that one.
No, I'm not.
Okay. So moving on, yeah, because wow, we're this is a long episode, man. We're really so many.
Wait, Cheech, and musically, did you talk about anagram? Like,
Where's my music? Music, yeah. Intricate instrumental section, complex time signatures, uh, amazing vocals, and great guitar work and guitar
yeah,
solo. You know, like again, the music. It's more almost about the lyrics and like the music is great, but it's not hemispheres we're talking
right,
about. You
right.
know, and you're gonna see this. I mean, and every Rush album in the '90s, and maybe counterparts. It gets a little more exciting. The music, Vapor Trails gets a little more exciting, but it's great music, but it's nothing like 2112 or anything.
No, no.
Um,
Olivia Strangiato?
yeah, yeah. There's none of those days are not there.
No, it's more strong, precise lyrics. Like they're really good, like
With so much
poppy.
meaning. And I don't think anyone's ever broken down Nail's lyrics like this. Even in your Rush philosophy book, I don't think they're breaking it down, bringing it into Plato's Republic.
No,
I mean, somebody is, but but I don't know. Like, it's crazy, man. I mean, So Red Tide. Now going back to environmental issues, and I forget what album. There was one about floods. Remember, there was a song that we talked about
hmm.
using floods. So Red Tide, environmental awareness, social commentary. I love this line from the song. A distant early warning echoes through the night. So they put in the
Hmm.
distant early warning. Not much, environmental factors, urgency for change, um, the uncertainty and fear of the red tide. Um, Not sure what a red tide is. I've heard of it, but
Right.
is it something to do with pollution or
Yeah, it's so it says here a discoloration of seawater caused by a
yeah,
bloom of toxic red. Yeah, so pollution, the environmental.
yeah. Great music, obviously the drums, great vocals, intricate bass lines. So maybe Neil was reading something about something going on in the ocean and in Canada, and there was something. It's pretty straight ahead. There's not much really.
No, no, pretty environmental side and
Yeah, I
pretty
mean,
good.
you know, not much philosophy in it. I mean, books. Uh, Rachel Carlson, Silent Spring, here, Hero with a Thousand Faces, Joseph Campbell, Carl Sagan, Huxley's Brave New World,
Hmm.
um, John Locke. Have you ever heard of that person, philosopher?
Oh yeah.
Um, the Human Condition, and Stephen Jay Gould. Yeah, Stephen Jay Gould. I actually read some of his stuff, philosopher.
Hmm.
Okay, so that one's pretty straight ahead. So we don't,
That's great. And again, musically, I bet you're gonna say the same thing.
yeah, really not much, and I wish I could say more. That's why I can't.
Yeah, it's straight ahead rock. I mean,
All I could say is great bass, great drums, and great
yeah,
guitar. I'm not like fudging it. It's not like you said, the Villa Stringato, where there's A section, B section, and we're breaking it down.
dude, it's not proggy anymore, which I'm kind of sad, but
It's musical, but not proggy. You
yeah.
know, Hanover Fist, interesting song. Aggression, conflict, nature, cycle of violence, human nature versus aggression,
Hmm.
conflict resolution, self awareness. That's all I got on that. How do you feel about that? This is a pretty aggressive song.
Yeah, yeah,
Handle,
musically too.
yeah, it's pretty heavy. Um, how do you feel over that? Like hand over fist. What do you think they're trying to say in this? Like music to the music industry, maybe?
You know what? I think so because hand over fist. I think it's an expression for I think making money.
Yeah, making money hand over fist.
So I think it's music. Yeah, like music industry.
Yeah, maybe because they left Polygram and it's kind of a fuck you very much to Polygram.
Yeah,
They're on the
yeah,
land.
yeah.
Um, so it's like, you know, or I don't think it has anything to do with violence. I think there's a
No.
metaphor with hand over fist. It's not a Pantera song, hand over, like that
Yeah.
kind of thing. So, but books, not much really. Some Nietzsche, and Carl Jung.
Yeah.
Conrad Lorenz, you ever hear of him?
Yeah. Ethologist.
He's in
That
here.
that's interesting. I mean, I wonder where that would be.
Crazy. You know everybody, Manny.
So I studied him in college. I
Wow.
like him. He's an ethologist.
A what? A what?
Ethologist.
Explain that.
So it's funny with Conrad Lorenz. He is so in America. He didn't really make an impact per se, but so an ethologist is someone that studies animal behavior.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So in their natural environment and Conrad Lorenz, it's funny. I studied him in college and I liked his. He was Austrian. He was a zoologist, ethologist. Had a very interesting look too.
Oh, zoologist.
Yeah, man. Like he was more interested in like animal behavior,
Yeah, yeah.
and he invented this idea of ethology.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, the only problem with him, the reason why he's not more famous in America, is because like Heidegger, he joined the Nazi Party.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But
So
then after the war, he regretted his membership. But that being said, his ideas are pretty cool. But I'm kind of interested. So if that's the case with this song, it actually would make it actually would make sense because I'm trying to like break the meaning of this song a little bit.
yeah,
But you know, just as a side, Lorenz came up with this idea of imprinting. Have you ever heard of this?
animal imprinting, right? Or just in
He came
brain.
up with the concept,
Yeah,
yeah, that they learn how to identify their parents, right? It's sort of there's a critical age period.
right.
And it's funny, he had these little ducklings imprint himself on them, so they would follow him, think that they would be his mother, that he was
Okay.
their mother.
Wow, that's fucking nuts.
and he was
Yeah,
influential in the human.
because you see that in ducks. They like
Yeah, yeah, he's famous. There's a famous image of him of ducklings following him because himself, his when they hatched, the first thing they saw and was imprinted on their minds was Lorenz.
Oh man, those poor little ducklings.
Yeah, I wonder what happened. They never talk about what happened after, but
Yeah.
um, this song could be a look at more of the animalistic side of things,
Is that
maybe,
all animals? When
huh?
they is that for all animals? The first thing that they
That's
see?
the theory. It's most animals. Yeah. So there's an art with attachment theory. So later on, attachment theory in psychology started to become prominent, and this was so influential
Yeah.
because you realize the critical periods where attachment with mother, for example, or father is so critical.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
So, and in any disruption with that causes these problems, obviously.
Yeah. Well, definitely. Crazy. That's fascinating. This out. See, we did not think Presto was going to take us on this fucking journey from Christmas to zoology. You know,
And
um,
Conrad Lorenz too. That's kind of cool.
James Joyce. It's like all over the map. I love it. I think this might be the last song. Yeah,
Available light.
yeah. Available light. So this one, loss, hope and resilience, light and darkness, personal growth, transformation, self awareness. Um, well, what's your take on it? So, like, what do you think? What do you think he's talking about in this song?
Yeah, it's funny. Once again, I think, it's poetically it's pretty interesting. Tight song.
Yeah.
It's not really, he Pert is like songwriting is pretty strong.
Uh,
Um, I like the line here where the restless wind has seen all things and every kind of light, rising with the full moon to go howling through the night. And
yeah.
then the chorus is, "Oh, the light can carry all the visions of the sea. Oh, the light can carry all the images of me."
Wow.
So it's sort of like a meditation on light.
Yeah. Wow.
What do you got for philosophers?
Um, I got Herman Hesse. Uh,
That's
ex-
interesting.
existentialism. Gabriel Marcel.
Ooh,
Um, Emmanuel Livings. That's about it. Very interesting.
it's a pretty song. It's just not my favorite. I will say.
Yeah, yeah. Is this one
It's
with
not like
have the piano solo in this one?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of a mellow
very
kind of.
mellow, and it definitely So funny when you compare this to Vital Signs
Oh yeah, yeah.
or
Different ball game.
very different, very mellow. Honestly, very pretty lyrics.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. Um. So yeah, so there's some songs that like are all like we could go all over the map, and then there's some songs that are just there's not much, not a lot to it.
Just
It
straight away when we were here, like a top 40, but much better, obviously. But
yeah, yeah. You know, musically, I'm gonna say the same exact things. Uplifting lyrics. I have great drums, great bass, great vocals. You know, and piano solo. So the last thing is the album cover. Um,
mhm.
Now, when I did see this in concert in 1990, Mr. Big opened up, Billy Sheehan's band,
Mm.
and had the big Presto hats on stage, and they had Playboy bunnies come out holding up signs, which was really cool. Which I thought was like, we were like, oh my god! I mean, these hot women came out and like not trashy, like not bikinis, but like the sexy kind of what do you call it? Bikini? What do you call bathing suits? You know, when they had
Right.
funny ears and we had binoculars. And I remember looking through the binoculars, being like 19, going, "Oh my God, look at this girl!" And it's like at a Rush concert, chicks are coming out. You know, this is funny. So they had the magic hats and I think the rabbit it was cheesy, but the rabbit popped up out of the hat, I believe, at that time, which was cool. You know, now it would be like a cheesy thing, but okay. So the cover once again, you Sims. This one was a little easier to find, and it makes sense. So the cover is a magician's top hat with rabbits emerging.
Hmm.
And at the time, I had a pet rabbit, so I was really into rabbits, which made it funny. Um, Now, the top hat and the rabbit is the art of magic.
Hmm.
When you think of a top hat, a rabbit coming out of a hat. It's cliche, but it's the art of magic. Now, the rabbits that are escaping is freedom and liberation. So the rabbits have that free will, and that's where they're running from the restraints of the magician. The main concept of the idea is the transformation of a magician. Magician's art is the metaphor for that. So his transformation, you know. Presto is an Italian music term meaning quickly or swiftly. In like a conductor, would be
Hmm.
a superconductor. Um, so now the colors are interesting. Black, white, red, and gold. Black and white means balance and harmony, and a fusion of the opposites. Red is energy, passion, creativity. Gold is value, wisdom, enlightenment.
Hmm.
And the songs that you can hear this in, as we talked, obviously Presto, Magic, Anagram, Codes, Hidden Messages, Meanings, Red Tide, Change, Transformation, Available Light, Hope, and Renewal. And that sums up the album cover.
They're good.
So any
I think it's
comments?
the most funniest looking album cover.
The most what?
I like it. They're
I
most
think
funniest.
it's funny. It's Andy Warhol in a sense because it's so simple. It has,
Yeah, it's cool looking at it because
yeah. I mean, there's not much. There's not much to it. It's a rabbit. It's a hat and a bunch of rabbits running away from the hat. And you know, it's simple and there's a meaning behind it. And New Sims, another genius album. It's not like Dahmer locked in his room on Power Windows. You know,
it's not some creepy.
about to smash the tele. That is a cool concept though. He's looking out the window with a remote control, like he's completely
Mhm.
gone. He's
or,
gone.
or kind of minimal, as in on Hold Your Fire.
Yeah, the three balls, the three orbs.
I
Yeah,
feel like a lot going on here, but pretty cool, kind of very surreal.
yeah, yeah. It's really really cool. And the concert I remember, I'll never forget that concert. It was one of the best concerts I went to. You know, and I was like I said I was on a roll, man. I saw like roll the. I had this is how cool it was back then. 1991,
Yeah.
end of 91, I saw Roll the Bones. My friend Mike got front row tickets for like $300 or 250. We were giving them for free, but that's how much they were worth. $250 to see Rush in the seventh row, sixth row.
Dude, Steel.
Like now, where is $200 gonna get you at a concert in the back of
Oh
the
yeah, I was
front
gonna say definitely not in the front row.
especially at the Capitol Theater, where everything is like so overpriced and like
Come on, I know it's a shame.
it's like $500 to see the Black Crowes or something like that now. It's like
Yeah,
it's
no.
whatever. It's like great theater, but like they got to bring the prices down to like
Especially for that venue.
because it's such a great venue. It goes back to vaudeville. It's classic.
Mhm.
You know, and there's also another theater in Portchester called the Embassy Theater that they never did anything with, which is vaudeville. It's amazing that they got these old theaters in Portchester, like from the vaudeville
Mhm.
days. It's crazy. But anyway, any final thoughts on Presto? Because this took us on a 2 hour journey that led led us to like so many different. I can't believe the Christmas theme, and it's not even like we're making it up because it's Christmas. It's not like we're adding it in there. It's in the album. It's
No, it's
an
in
album.
there. Yeah. Well, there's some magic, man. Presto.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, yo, you think if you think like bunnies or rabbits coming out of a magician's hat, you're so cynical. Like you don't think that's cool, or
Yeah,
you don't like Christmas, man.
I know. I know. It's like Easter. It's almost like an Easter concept when you think of bunnies. It's like
Yeah, man, that's a good point. And dude, you know what's interesting? One more religious reference on the album cover. The bunnies are coming out of what looks like a
yeah,
mountain. So
yeah.
God is usually found on a mountain in the
It's
Bible,
true.
on a mount.
Yeah, yeah.
And think about the rabbit, sort of the same idea as a sheep. So
Hmm.
we could be the rabbits as well. But
Yeah.
I'll stop there. I'm not smoking anything, by the way. I'm just thinking.
No, this is all thought. This is all from lyrics and how amazing Manny is at read the lyric and I'll throw a name out and it's like I see it and it'll give the example. That's genius, dude. I don't know how you do that. Like
Oh, and this is their Stoic album.
total stoic. And now I can't wait to start to research Roll the Bones because
We'll see what's up with that one because
now
that's so interesting.
we're gonna get into the '90s and we're gonna
Yeah,
see like where that's going. And there's my favorite song, Bravado, is on that album. So many,
right,
go a Ghost of a Chance, and it's similar to this album. I'm gonna
right,
say it's not there's nothing super like 2112 and Rush establishes themselves. Presto is a great album. Uh, I would say Superconductor, The Pass, and Show Me Don't Tell Me are the standout tracks on that. You know, so it's like we covered. I think we covered 13 albums so far on Rush,
impressive, man, impressive.
and broke it down like to like I don't know new levels of like lyrics on the lyrics. So stay tuned for Roll the Bones. And we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going.
Going, Rush will never end.
Yeah,
This will be our legacy.
yeah, it's crazy, So, but excellent, man. Great show, and Merry Christmas, everyone, and Merry Christmas, Rush Presto, because it's a Christmas. Wait, it's a Christmas album.
I mean, honestly, it might be their Christmas album because the lyrics are so light.
Yeah,
With the exception, obviously, of a few songs,
yeah,
but yeah, man, dude, Presto's actually a surprising album. It's really good.
yeah.
A lot of great tracks. Yeah, man, lots of religion, so definitely Christmas. So
Yeah, and like I mean, Hold Your Fire compared to Hold Your Fire, it's so different, but they're equally as good. Because
yeah,
I like Hold Your Fire. It's the production that
that's
makes.
funny. I like Power Windows better now, if anything, but
Yeah, yeah. I
because I
mean,
love the '80s production. Like I don't hate it. Like I like it.
I like it too. I don't hate it at all. I think Power Windows, Hold Your Fire. I mean, Grace Under Pressure. I don't count. We don't count that.
No, I think I think I put that as a little descriptor for the Grace Under Pressure episode where I say this is many consider their last classic.
Yeah, I that
And again, not to say that Presto isn't a classic. No, that's not what I'm saying.
right.
So this is the last time Rush, I guess, not proggy, but I don't know how would you describe it. Like it's just Grace Under Pressure is the last time they.
It,
How would you
well,
describe it?
I mean, they come back with counterparts.
Well, yeah, that I'm
Yeah.
excited and super. I'm looking forward to inviting your
Oh
brother-in-law
yeah,
on that one.
I'm gonna bring Rob on that show. I gotta ask Rob. I'm sure he'll love to do it because that's like one of his favorite albums. And Counterparts is like balls out, but it's in the middle of grunge, and they got they 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 tuned down their guitars and everything, so they got that sound. So it's pretty, it's amazing how they just changed. And then you brought up Test for Echo, and I think you said you read bad reviews on that or something like
It's
that.
considered the most weakest next to Vapor Trails.
I disagree with that like so much because I love Test for
Well,
Echo.
to be fair, most Rush fans, right? Again, just
Yeah.
reading the consensus, Power Window, Soldier Fire, Presto, that they never talk about these albums. Dude, and no offense, the '90s stuff, nothing.
Yeah.
Where I do see sort of a return to form is Clockwork Angels. So I guess we'll talk
Oh yeah.
about that when
And I
they
would
say
say
it's a return to form.
and Snakes and Arrows because that was one Rob was talking about too.
Right.
But Test for Echo, I played that out. I got it when it came out in '96, and I loved it. I loved every song on it. I was just blown away. And then the bad stuff happened, unfortunately, with Neil. Then they reemerged with Vapor Trails, and Vapor Trails just was heavy. Rush got
Right.
heavy. They got
Right.
heavy again, and that was 2005. No, no, 2002. I'm sorry, 2002, and it got fucking heavy again. So that's like kind of like bringing back.
Right. Right.
We were talking about the rock that was gone.
You know what's funny? I'm trying to describe. You know how, for example, like Beatles had a where they released, for example, um, Revolver. Sorry, Rubber Soul, Revolver. What can I pronounce the word? But Revolver, Sergeant Pepper, right? That streak, and then obviously they had problems though. Some of the albums and the White Album, but
Yeah,
some people, for example, Let It Be is good, but compared to what they released, I think that's Rush. I'm trying to describe like sort of like Grace Under Pressure kind of marks the end of Rush. Um, that starting with 2112
yeah, yeah,
and then Power Window starts a new Rush. That Presto sort
yeah.
of no no
But
no
it only lasted for two albums. If you
no no
think
no. That's
about
what I'm saying. And what's that show of hands? That's the end of it.
it.
Now
Yeah, eight
Presto
albums.
Presto is a return, but this is a different type of Rush. Rush's songwriting again is simple. It's tight. The rhythm section is also tight. A little repetitive, but that's okay. Kind of thematically goes with the album.
Yeah,
And again, I'm looking forward to see what we hear on Counterparts. So
yeah, yeah. And then what's the other one I was gonna say? Roll the Bones is kind of like Presto.
Unroll the Bones as well. Yeah, yeah, good
Although
sequel to that.
it gets a little like the song Bravado could have been on Presto's another. It's like the Pass Part Two, not the topic, but the kind of vibe. Um, and Counterparts is just like every song is fucking heavy, heavy. But I disagree. Test for Echo is really good. Vapor Trails is really good. Snakes and Arrows is really good, and then Clockwork Angels is where it ends. And where would it have gone? That's what I would have liked to know after Clockwork Angels. If Neil didn't get sick, Alex had gotten really bad arthritis. He wasn't playing up to his potential in his mind. He suffered with pain all the time. So they were gonna take a break anyway. But I wonder if Rush did a new album, like if Neil was still alive, what would it be like? That's
Right,
the in 2024, you know, which is yeah, in fact, and then I think we talked a little bit about the solo albums, and I always say like Getty should do another solo album, or they should do a tribute with a new drummer,
right.
you know, or three different drummers because they can't end it. They need to do something for Neil. before they say, okay, Rush is officially gone, or put out live stuff that was never released,
Mm.
that should be out there. But they haven't done Rush hasn't done anything musically, even with live albums
No.
or anything. You know, they'd have to get the right drummer. That's the thing, and I think the right drummer's dead. Taylor Hawkins, I think, would have been the right drummer to do it
Mm.
because I seen him play YYZ. I got to send you that
He's
video,
a huge Rush fan, so
and I seen him play YYZ with Rush, and it was
right.
amazing. So he would have been one. They say Portnoy from Dream Theater. He would be good too. The guy from Primus, but he's supposedly just retired. But we'll see. We'll
So,
see what Rush does in the next 5 years. So, but anyway, this was an adventure as always, in a philosopher adventure in a Christmas. I'm glad we have the Christmas spirit going with this album. Did not know, had no idea, no idea. But all right, Manny, Merry Christmas,
Merry
and
Christmas.
we will be putting out the shows. We got Killers that we did. I forgot about Killers because we've been popping them out. We got Zeppelin 2 with Joe, and there was one. Oh, the Christmas album.
Mhm. And don't forget Facing Power Windows and Hold Your Fire as well. So
I'm thinking they're out already. And I
one
forgot.
week until we release an episode. I'll aim for Mondays or Sundays,
Yeah,
one episode a week.
that's
So
awesome.
look forward to great shows.
Definitely. All right. So Merry Christmas, Manny. I'll
Merry
talk to you.
Christmas.
And great discussion on the greatest band in the galaxy.
Yes, sir.
Go out and to the young listeners, buy Presto.
Buy
It
Presto, listen to Presto, buy it on vinyl, CD, stream it 50 times.
whatever. Listen to the lyrics, like the emotional lyrics of the past. You know, Superconductor. That blew my mind away. That one. And like study the Stoics. Go out there, Marcus Aurelius. Go. We could teach you about philosophy. You know, excuse me. Go out and read some philosophy.
Read.
Plato's
Read
Republic.
Marcus Aurelius Meditations. If you don't know where to start, read that. Read Epictetus, read Seneca, and then when you're ready, read the good stuff like Plato. If you're up for it, James Joyce, Ulysses.
Ulysses. Yeah. Decoding stuff. Plato's Republic. All just to
Yeah.
recap. Did.
Dude, get out of the superconductor.
Yeah, yeah, get out of the superconductor, Put down the video game, kids.
Come on, kids. Put down that Fortnite.
Put down, yeah. Put down the Fortnite, streams of Rush, and
Listen, and Kendrick Lamar, listen to Rush.
put down the Kendrick Lamar into Rush.
Can we, on the record, Cheech, is Presto better than Kendrick Lamar's new album?
Oh, 100 million times better. But to Pimp a Butterfly is his 2112 to
Yeah,
give
in his genre, right? In his
to give him his credit.
yeah.
So all right, man. I
Cheers,
will
brother. As
see you
always,
in the next episode. Take care.
till next, my man. Rock on.
You too, brother.